It's not my problem. It's not my problem. When I feel heavy metal, and I'm pissed and I'm Zito. When I lie and I'm missing all of the time, but I'm never sure why I need you. Please let me shout.
All right, welcome to the Prospect Podcast. I am myself, Coach Schumann here. I got Coach D to my left on this Friday, and then I have a special guest, head football coach of New Egypt High School, Steve Fence. I'm glad to talk with him. Coach wears a lot of hats. A small school coach who does it all. He's the assistant principal. He's the supervisor of athletics. He's the head girls flag coach. He's a track coach. In addition to his duties as head football coach, right? So it's pretty cool. Like I always love because me and Derek both went to obviously Group 1 high schools. I always have a spot that I love the fact that at smaller schools, Group 1 schools, Group 2 schools, that you have the opportunity to actually have some fun and do a lot of different things. So as opposed to just locked into one thing, but that's me, and that might be growing up in a small town and going to a small high school, but having coached in big schools and having coached in small schools, there's always something about that. Coach, talk about your background as a coach and where you guys are today in the stated program in New Egypt.
Perfect. So I've been, coaching. I'm going on my 27th year coaching high school football. Started back in 1999 at Manchester. Coached there for 15 years as the offensive coordinator under some great head coaches. Moved on, coached at Barnegat for a couple of years, and then got the head gig at New Egypt. I'm going on my 10th year at New Egypt. So yeah, a lot of coaching, a lot of been around a long time. Say you start in 99, and you tell your kids that, and they look at you and they call you punk. Like I know what that means. So
you were in the 20th century decade. Wow.
Yeah. But Y2K, what? So we've been around. So yeah, it's an exciting time. It's fun to see some changes that have gone on in high school athletics and high school football over the years, and coaching in some bigger districts. You might not look at Manchester or Barnegat as bigger districts, but they are bigger than New Egypt.
Definitely.
You kind of have to adjust your coaching style, and things change. And my coaching style is kind of a mix of all the great head coaches that have come before me, and I kind of taken what they've done well and things that they didn't do that things that I didn't like that they did, I kind of left at the door, which wasn't much, but had some really, really great people in front of me.
What are some of the things that you've where did you go to high school? You from?
Yeah, I went to Manchester.
You went to Manchester. Okay.
Yeah, I was a Manchester kid. I got involved in coaching through Doug Covert, who's been all over the place and done some really good things in the administrative part of education. So it's been pretty cool to have some good models.
No doubt. New Egypt now being with the Shore Conference is a big deal. What facilitated that move? And because I'm sure, because you guys were were you part of the West Jersey?
Yeah, we were West Jersey. And they're both great conferences. So when I interviewed at New Egypt, one of my first questions was, they asked you questions at the end of the interview. I'm like, do we ever have a chance of going to the Shore? Because I just think it was a natural fit being in Ocean County. And they chuckled because they had tried to make the move. There were some board members against it at the time, some parents against it at the time. Being in the West Jersey Football League, in other sports, we were in the Burlington County Scholastic League, which being in the Burlington County Scholastic League and being in Ocean County, we missed out on a bunch of stuff. Right. There were no postseason tournaments. So it wasn't just a football move. It was an overall athletic move. And it wasn't just me spearheading it. We had a great athletic director named Ken Mason, who was retired doing the job. And he just saw the benefits of the Shore Conference, the media coverage, the camaraderie between coaches. I pitched some the football end of it. and we went through the process and we made the move, and it's been great for us. Being involved in county tournaments for our basketball teams and our baseball teams and things like that. It's just been a really, really smooth and easy transition. And the short conference and the coaches in the short conference and all sports have welcomed us with open arms, realizing that we're a Group 1 team that can compete in a lot of sports. In softball, we've been really, really good. And, and our basketball team did well. So it's been a natural transition for us, and we're thrilled to be in the Shore. And West Jersey Football League was great, and there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of great athletes in that conference as well. New Jersey football is strong. But the Shore Conference is just a little bit more of a natural fit for us with the teams like Point Beach, who we have a great rivalry with, Keyport, Keensburg. Yeah. And the last couple of years when we were in the West Jersey League, I really, really pushed to play some Shore Conference teams, not just to gauge our level with them, but because I kind of saw the move coming. And, we played Lakewood a few years, and Lakewood's on our schedule this year. So it was a really, really good fit for us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a totally different situation, the West Jersey League versus the Shore Conference, especially as far as travel wise too, right? So that's a big thing. Whereas Ocean could be in Ocean County versus having to go, you could be going potentially with traffic. That's the biggest thing is like with traffic, it may not be the distance, but it would be the traffic you would engage in as you're getting through the towns that, towards the Philly area. That's totally different. It's interesting because the Shore Conference obviously is known with having a lot of like really big schools, right? But there's a really strong small school group that's really, been developed, right? Like you have schools like yours, you have Shore Regional, you have Point Beach, you have other schools, Keyport, and that are all small schools. What is important in continuing to develop? Because I think that's one of the things that I think in Shore Conference they want to develop more, but there's so much attention, obviously, media wise, with the big schools. What are some of the things that as the smaller schools are trying to do to really continue to like grow their cachet from a school standpoint?
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, I know a lot of the big schools are getting a lot of the media coverage, but we're coming from an aspect where we had zero media coverage.
Really?
Right. Yeah. You're coming from like anything is better than nothing is better than what we had. It's like, we'll take it. Yeah.
We our first game against Keensburg, which was a pretty good game, was on a Thursday night to open the season. And week 0 happened, but we were like the first Shore Conference game in the regular season. And it was a Thursday night. Everybody's playing Friday, so we had everybody there watching our games, and we had interviews after the games. And my kids and my parents were like shocked that actually happened. So we're actually coming from an area where we're getting more exposure than we ever did, which is another reason why we moved to the Shore. Now, big school football in the Shore Conference is great. It's really, really, really good. But the rivalries that have existed with Group 1 football and hopefully will grow with us in the conference. It's definitely just something that we look forward to. There aren't a ton of Group 1 teams, and just adding another, I think, helps balance the Shore a little bit. And there can be some consistency with the divisions and consistency with rivalries, and I just think it's a good thing overall.
No doubt about it. I think having a really good small, I'm coming from North Jersey, where although some of it has gone on harder times in the small school area, but come from North Jersey, where when I was a kid and when Derek was a kid, those small school programs were big powerhouse programs for their level, and but they've had some harder times as they've had to figure out conference wise what to do. Some schools weren't able to sustain. Sometimes there's a rotation of this school's good one year and this one's not as good this year. Butler, where Derek's from, is one of the schools that's been consistently near the top all the time. It's what are some of the things that as a small school coach that you have to do to really build the culture that might be different than I live in I live in Lincroft, which is part of Middletown, right?
Yeah.
So Mid-South, and Mid-North. What those coaches have to do is very different than what you have to do to build a culture. Talk about some of the things that you have to do to really build the culture.
So obviously being there for some years, we've done some things, but I'm blessed to be in a town that cares about football. New Egypt is a small farm town. And Friday night, the town stops, the place is packed. So I was blessed to walk into that situation where people cared about football and the football was an important part of the school. We have probably an enrollment between 300 and 350 every year. Last year I had 48 kids on my roster. This year we have 41. So we have built a culture of success, and it's Group 1 football. You're going to have those times. You have a very senior class. You're going to have to rebuild. We have gone through times, and in my time in New Egypt, where you have 2 good years and then 2 rebuilding years, and then 2 good years and then 2 rebuilding years. We're probably in the second year of that rebuilding year, but with the numbers that we've had, I think we're going to be able to continue the success that we've had, because just based on numbers. 3 years ago, our senior class, when they were freshmen, I think we had 28 kids on the roster. You just go through those times. It's Group 1 football, and probably being one of the smallest Group 1s. Sure, and to their credit, an amazing Group 1 program. They're dealing with maybe 700 and 800 enrollment. We're dealing with 300. Like that, when you're dealing, if it's a Group 5 level, you're not comparing, 2,000 kids to 4,000 kids. It's Group 1. There's a vast difference in big Group 1 football and small Group 1 football. We're dealing with the Glassboroughs and things like that in Group 1 football, where we know that that's a different level of Group 1 football. So we make our goals attainable. We're talking about a division title more than we're talking about state playoff home games and berths. Although that's obtainable, we want to accomplish what we can accomplish. So we set goals that we can achieve. We do all sorts of things for culture. Obviously, some things that we do, like we do karaoke nights, and we do all sorts of stupid stuff in our field house to make the kids want to be a part of things, especially in the age of sports specialization. When we're fighting that battle a little bit at New Egypt right now with some kids that have chosen not to come out for football because they want to concentrate on one aspect or one sport. And I know every school's going through that, but we try to do special things and make it a special place to where football's different. Football's different than basketball, and football's different than baseball, and football's different than whatever sport you're going to play, because you only get to hang with your boys 9-10 times, maybe 12 if you're lucky, during the year. So we try to make it special. My parents do an amazing job of that. My assistant coaches do an amazing job of that. So New Egypt, Group 1 football is a special place. There's not a ton of jobs to go get assistant coaches. So not only am I the head coach, I'm the only coach in district. So all of my assistants are out of district. So they're coming from different schools and different places, which affects the way you start practice. And, there are certain challenges and things like that we have to deal with at a Group 1 level, but it's all stuff that you get used to and you overcome, and you just don't use it as an excuse. You just find a way to get it done and work. So it's a really, really special place. Not without its challenges like any other program, but you just continue to battle, and you just find a way. There's no excuses. You just find a way.
Right. And Coach, it's funny that, talking, because, Dave and I are both Group 1 guys, right? So it's what we came from. It was all I knew until I got into coaching itself. And then reality hit me like, that's not the way everything is, right? So I always said that Group 1 guys, like, they're really coaching their ass off on a whole different level, just in terms of positionally, scheme wise, what you can do, what you can't. Like, we would all love to have, a roster of 70 where we could do platoon and do this or do that. Just the way you have to structure things to keep guys healthy or to maximize their potential when it comes to your games on Friday night. Because, sometimes, if you want to beat them down in practice all week, you're going to have nothing, because one guy's doing 5 things. Just like, you wear a lot of hats as the head coach, your players have to do multiple things. And, I think the one thing that separates you guys is as you've grown number-wise, right? So that's, like, to me, one of the biggest pieces of the whole puzzle, is because how can you get that scout team together, right? And as a Group 1 program, if you're talking 20-something kids, like, no offense, what's the quality of that scout unit that you're looking at and doing those types of things? That I think that's just one of those challenges that guys that never coach with that in that small setting, they just don't understand and they don't grasp it. I mean, for guys like David, you played you never left the field for 3 years or 4 years. Like, we never did. We got to college and we're like, what the hell? Like, I have to sit on the side of the ball. Like, you just don't understand that. And coaching wise too. But the difference when it comes to certain Group 1 programs and where they is that town support that you have, that's all those people know on a Friday night is, New Egypt football. And I got the, I was blessed enough to come out there my first time ever this spring to play when we did our girls flag game. And I was just in awe of just like where it was, how it was, the structure of it. It was not Group 1 facilities by any means, shape, or form. In my eyes, you have great facilities there, and the kids cared on a different level, regardless of what sport it was, right? Because there was as many people in the stands for that thing as there was for, some regular football games that I see, right? So the town backing and the school, I think, care about athletics in general, and I think that's a huge part of Group 1 football.
You couldn't be more right. Like, to your first part of your comment, I kind of realized what group football was. My first year, we were blessed with a really, really good team, and we wound up winning the division. But at one point, my quarterback got injured, and our quarterback was our starting right guard. So we had to actually call a timeout to change jerseys to get him an eligible number. So I just sat there shaking my head because obviously you're thinking, I'm like, what world am I in? But but you make it work and you adjust. And to your point about the girls flag football, it's just, that's been an awesome experience. And we're blessed to have some really, really good female athletes. Yeah, we have some good girls. We have some good girls. We finished fourth in the Shore, lost to Rumson in the semifinals. They were just amazing. But we bring everybody back, pretty much everybody back. We lost two defensive players, and those girls, to their credit, they're all two-sport athletes. We had two girls that didn't play a second sport. We don't practice. We practice maybe once a week. We practice in the preseason, but those girls are coming from lacrosse games. Our quarterback is a star lacrosse player. Our best receiver is a star softball player. So we don't have practice time. We're coming from, we're trying to make it work. And my assistant does a great job of setting the schedule. Deb Newman does a great job of setting the schedule to make sure that there's nothing conflicting. She hates me at the time, but it's a fun thing, and it's here to stay. That's not going anywhere. Colleges are just looking at it. They just had a girls all-star game, which was pretty special. And we got to get one of our goals. I know Coach Tierney has talked about trying to get the girls all-shore game before the regular all-shore game, which is a pretty special thing. The future is bright for girls flag football. So we just got to make it work to where they can still play two sports. Hopefully we can make that work for a little bit. And then, a small district like us will our softball program's so good and our lacrosse program's pretty good. So we have to, we might have to make some decisions down the line, but it's an interesting time in spring sports and girls sports. It's a fun time.
In football, at the small school, the ability to play both ways is such a unbelievable thing. Like an automatic.
Like you're playing two positions. Like like you're not just a QB. You're this too.
That's my favorite thing.
I had such a good running back a few years ago. He was an all-conference player. I think he had rushed for 1,500 yards. We lost to Gloucester City in the state playoffs, which was an incredible playoff game. But he was our starting running back, starting outside linebacker, and our long snapper. So he was a three-way player. He wasn't a two-way player. And they were all like that. My quarterback was my kicker. It's just like it's Group 1 football. Everybody plays every position.
Yep, and that's what makes it, I think, unique and great.
Amazing.
I always thought that guys who if they were good enough from small schools and then they go and play in college, one of the great things about them is that they played both sides of the ball. So if they have to, whatever you recruit them for, if they had to flip to another side of the ball, it's not going to be foreign to them to do it. It's not like a kid who's played only played receiver his whole entire career, and you really want him to go over in college to move over to corner, let's say, but he's never tackled anybody because he's only played receiver for the last 6 years in middle school and high school, right? So I think that's a cool, unique thing about small school athletes, that obviously if they're good enough to play whatever level that is, that they bring a different tool set to football that others may not be used to, and I think that it's really cool and unique. So,
because think about it, Dave. We both did it in college, right? Like, we both had to change sides of the ball in terms of position wise, right? Like, you know, like, and that was 100% a credit to playing Group 1 football. We played both ways. We were returning kicks, punts, like we were running down on punting, kicking, holding shit. I mean, whatever it was. But then I think that also spills over to other sports too. You know what I'm saying? Because, your best athlete in general needs to be doing multiple sports at a smaller school. Your teams lose because of that if a guy's kind of hone in on sport and whatnot. And I think that's just one of those beautiful things about a small school is you go and go do multiple sports where there's literally like, this is what we have, this is what we're working with. That's the difference, I think.
100%.
What the balance of being an administrator and doing all the things you have to do coaching wise, I think it's also unique to smaller schools, and that may be an expectation, right? So because they need somebody to do some of those things that have experience, right? They don't want to just throw someone into something that doesn't have experience. Talk about the balance you have from now again, like that was what I was used to in high school, but as a coach for many years, that was obviously not the case at almost all the schools I was at, because other than ones that wasn't at a small school. But at small schools, that's part of the gig. I think that's what's also really cool. Talk about that balance there.
So last year I was blessed to get an opportunity to be halfway through the year to be the dean of students. So I kind of had my hat in the administrative ring a little bit and helped out the administrators throughout the day. I actually today is my first day as an administrator, although the district
first official.
It's August 1st, so my contract starts today. So today is my first day as a supervisor of athletics and the assistant principal. So it's gonna be an interesting time. The amount that's on my plate is a lot, and being able to do what I do, and I'm excited to do both roles, and a little bit sad to step out of the classroom, but a little bit excited to change my role and help the school in a different way. That comes with great administrative support, and the administrative and from our superintendent all the way down to all of our administrative positions at New Egypt are amazing. And it comes with great family support. I couldn't do it without my wife and my kids. We're a football family. Everybody in my family has some role in football. My daughter started studying athletic training at the University of Delaware. She worked with the football program in the spring, UDel football, through training. She's actually working with Monmouth football coming up this spring for an internship. My son's going on to play college football, was in the All-Shore game for Pinelands, and my sophomore son is going to be a wide receiver at Pinelands, which I actually get to coach against him this year. So
that's fun.
So my wife is honestly the MVP of the family. She keeps things going. She allows me to do what I do. And there's a sign on my house that says this marriage is interrupted by football season. So she is really the head coach of the family, and she makes sure everything runs smooth. We have a Google Calendar that's absolutely crazy, but we all we make it work. But I'm excited to get started and have a different role and make it work.
Yeah,
and
no
your
doubt.
oldest is going to Keene to play, correct?
Correct. Yeah, correct. He
What was
leaves,
that like coaching against? Did you have to coach against your son at all?
I did not. In fact, schedules were aligned and a lot of people worked, to help me out. So I got to about half his games last year. We had some Thursday games, and then if we had Saturday games, I did not. We had Barnegat on our schedule from that division and not Pinelands. But this year we have Pinelands. One of the joys of my coaching career is Coach Farrell allowed me to be the offense coordinator for the All Shore game. And, my son was in the game. So his last high school game, I got to coach him. So that will always be probably the highlight of my coaching career, which is pretty cool.
That's very, very, very.
He's an offensive lineman, by the way, Coach Shu. He's a monster. Like if we could ever get him to games, he is a little on the lighter side, but listen, I think he's going to do really. I was fortunate enough to be around him for a couple of days of all shore practice, and obviously we have a great relationship with Coach Gap there. He runs a great program, so it's really, I think, like a great fit for him to get up there and do his thing. It'll be a welcome, come to Jesus moment at some point where he'll be calling you, Coach, saying, Dad, what did you make me do? Like, this is wild. Like, I can't take this. But, I think he's going to do really, really well. He definitely separated himself in the all-shore game, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, he surprised me a little bit. He played really, really well. Not that I expected less, but when you're in a game and you're coaching the game, you're not necessarily looking at a specific position. But maybe I did a couple plays, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay,
yeah.
That's the exciting thing about getting to coach your kid a little bit and being able to do that. There's no doubt about it. What do you see, like, as far as how you continue to build New Egypt's program? What are like some of the things, like you talked about briefly about like kids that are specializing, and I think that I hate saying it, but like at a small school, that's can be a problem, right? Because there's the guy who plays football is the guy you rely on for basketball, let's say, or wrestling or whatever, and then is there a way that you continue to educate the parents that football should, could hopefully still be part of what they're doing, and what are those challenges at a group one level with people playing, just some kids specializing?
So that's as time goes by, right? That's probably my biggest challenge. One of our best athletes in the school right now is not a football player. He's a really good baseball player, and he's a really, really good basketball player. I think he was in the top 10 in shore conference scoring this year. But I know if I put him at an X receiver, it's going to be really difficult to cover him. But I begged and I pleaded, and the biggest thing where I found success is creating a culture amongst your other coaches. I have a great relationship with our wrestling coach, and I try to push, and he probably does a better job than me. I try to push our kids to wrestle. He tries to push his kids to play football, especially from a lineman aspect. So, we're all on the same page. We talk to our kids about the betterment of the school and how you get to showcase your talents a little earlier in a group one level, and you make more of a difference earlier. But you're not going to get everybody. And there are some kids. We have a corner that chose not to come out, who was a second team all conference corner because he's a real good baseball kid, and he wants to concentrate on that. And I know Point Beach goes through that, and every school is going through those battles. But it hurts more in a group one level when you lose a player or two.
Yeah, I think that's where the club stuff affects most. If a kid goes to a small school, at a big school, I'm sure guys would like to have this player or that player, but there's more people that are available. Whereas at a small school, a kid, if he goes and plays club sports and all of a sudden, he wants to do that sport in the fall instead of just in the spring, it becomes to have an effect. I think the more I see it, the more I see is like, hey, overall, like, you should go and play what is enjoyable, and because that opportunity comes around one time. and it doesn't mean that you can't practice your main sport in season. Like that's one of the things that
Right.
I mean, it's been 5 years since I was coaching at Red Bank, but that was one of the things that like I try to always talk to kids about. It's like doesn't mean that you can't still play your sport per se. It's just that we need you to be able to be at practice and be able to play in the games. But I remember having to sometimes. I had a 6'8" basketball player one time. He played football for me. He's a great football player many years ago. And my compromise is, hey, if you got to go Sunday to AAU, go Sunday and play AAU. I'll have to live if you show up Monday. Something happened. But I looked at it like, hey, having him is better than versus not having him, and that's some of the compromises that, especially a small school, that you end up making. But it's overall it is tough because in the community, you're especially in a small school, you're preaching this is what we have to do to be great, right? And then you also have to make some exceptions, but I think it's all part of it. And I think that do you have any of those kind of situations? Do you?
Coach, we're living the same life. I think it was about 4 years ago. We had a really good basketball player that went to play at King's College, and we knew he was a college basketball player. He wasn't a college football player, but he was also a really good football player. And he was our starting X receiver, and he probably easily led the team in catches, and he went Sunday night to play an AAU game and came back and was out 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. So. Those are battles that you have to give up. We sometimes we have a kid leave 10 minutes practice early because they got to get to batting practice or things like that. You fight those battles, and again, the biggest thing is communication. I try to get a schedule out to my kids as quick as I possibly can. So I say, listen, guys, this is what we're doing. This is our schedule through the season. Please try to schedule around it. And then
stick to that schedule. You know what I'm saying, Coach? Like right. For some of those, like, look, and this is one of the things that I've seen is I would rather, and parents go either way with it. I'd rather over communicate, and you know what I'm saying? Like I would rather that than the non-existent communication, and then stay close to what is on the schedule as much as possible. Right.
Correct.
Obviously, we know things come up and we know those things happen. But to me, that's why, Group 1 guys have to be structured in their intent of what's coming down the road because you have those things. Right. I mean, Dave, we dealt with what was it? We had I remember at RBR, we had a hockey kid. Right. So Saturday morning, right. Practice after we knew he wasn't there. He was going to be in Connecticut at some freaking hockey tournament, and we're just hoping he doesn't take a punt. You know what I'm saying? Because he was one of our better players. But that's the part, the structure and the scheduling. You have to be so highly organized to keep it as you move forward.
And the big, I found, and maybe it's just me, and maybe it's just that I'm becoming old. It's probably what it is. I just find like this generation has a little bit more trouble communicating than previous generations. Like there's, I tell the parents, I don't want to talk to you guys. Sorry. I don't need to know from you that Johnny has baseball. I want Johnny to tell me that Johnny has baseball. Like, I don't want to hear from you. We're trying to teach your kids that about communication and being responsible and things like that. That works to a point, but communication, kids, and I'm sure it's been this way. I'm just getting old, but kids live day to day and they don't know what they're doing next week, and they don't look and have foresight, and it is what it is. That's probably our biggest challenge is just the communication aspect of things. Hey, okay. I ask my kids if they're not going to be there over the summer, cause it's obviously voluntary. I want to know where you are. I want to know, are you going to baseball practice? Are you going away on vacation? That's great. You have a great time. But I don't want you sitting at home on the Xbox or doing whatever when you can be, getting better. So we ask our kids to communicate. That's what the expectation is. And they've done a decent job. I don't know that they've done a great job. So we're always trying to get better there.
I agree with you. I think that's, what it is, because their lives, I think, are so scheduled, because otherwise they just sit on Xbox all day long. So their parents schedule them for everything. time they're young.
You're living it, Dave. You're living it.
I'm certainly guilty of it. I mean, as soon as I see him sitting there on the Xbox for extended amount of time, I'm like, all right, I got to schedule more training or something for him. Or make sure a friend of his comes over, or I mean, just so they keep them going, because they love games. They love them.
That NCAA game is pretty good. I got to be honest.
It is good. It is good. My son's transferred to 4 schools in 4 years. So, when
right. Well, at least he knows that he'll be able to navigate the transfer portal. Yeah, he'll be able to
navigate the transfer portal. That game encourages the transfer portal. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my son said to me, he's like, I'm at the end of my sophomore year, and they still have me at number 2 at this, because they make you progress in the NCAA. I'm still number 2. I said, well, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm jumping in the portal.
I just like it because UDEL football's in it now, so
yeah, which is awesome. Look, there's benefits to things, you know what I'm saying? And like, I used to be the original on PS2 when we were away at college, and everybody be in your dorm room and you be getting after it and doing all that stuff, and then it's like, oh shit, dude, we got to wake up for a 5:30 run. Like, we might want to we might want to get out and go to bed now.
Well, the best is when they start giving you plays to run. So that's my favorite.
Well, listen, sometimes
it works every time. I mean, it's a good play, but I don't know every time is it going to work. But
you can't run the same play 18 times in a row, guys.
Yes, you can't run the same play 18 times in a row. I know.
You want me to go from 4th and 8 from my 30? Are you crazy? Come on.
Oh no, you can't listen. You can't say that, because as from having been a DC under Coach Schumann, that was I'm expecting that every fucking game, at least once or twice. Like, thanks, Coach. Like, yep. First quarter, we're 4th and 12 from the 30, our own 30. But all right, we got you. Don't worry. We're good to go. Listen, it's just part of it. Yeah, I get it. Got it.
Yeah. No doubt. No. It's interesting how they are with that stuff. Although I think that they don't watch games as much, which is weird, right? Like, they don't watch games, but they'll infer stuff from NCAA or Madden as being real. Like, they'll tell you, they'll be like, I'll say a player. Let's say it was Tom Brady. Oh, Tom Brady's good. He's a 99. You know what I mean? Like, that's
they know. They all know the ratings. They all know the ratings.
They know what their rating is.
And to that point, Adam Schefter this morning is tweeting out all the Madden ratings. And
because I believe Chad Ochocinco is for Madden and EA Sports, in terms of he is one of the Madden rating guys. And there's been numerous shows now where NFL guys in the locker room are like writing formal letters to be like, are you kidding me? I have an 83 speed. Like, I run a 4.4. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I think it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because it does add a level of like, hey, if I really wanted to, I could go in there, create my entire playbook, send it to every one of my kids that has this game, and shit, now they're going to know my verbiage, they're going to know the terminology, and they're going to kind of go with it, right? So I think there are some advantages to it. I just think it's absolutely wild, the outlook of some of these guys. It's really kind of, and now coaches are in the game and shit. I know for NCAA, and guys are getting money because they're in it, right?
Madden ratings affect it affects fantasy football, I think, too.
Well, that's where I was going to go with it too, Dave. The rise of just in our coaching careers, right, from the time we were playing. Like, I remember fantasy football in its infancy when I was in like middle school was like maybe a thing, along with the internet being maybe a thing. And then that world, and obviously with the legalization of gambling and those types of things, like, it has only exploded what was already, took over God's Day on Sunday in the NFL, right? Like, so it's a whole different freaking, there's just different phases of the game now. But going back to the original point, like, watching, and it's one of the things that I personally take pride in, is teaching our players how to watch film, not just turning on a game and and going out and watching it like a fan, right? Like watch your position, watch the intricacies of certain things. And yeah, you'll be able to understand like, hey, is that cover 1, cover 2? Like you should be able to see some of those things as you progress. But you're right, Dave. I don't think kids sit down and just watch football, even though it's on like every day of the week. Like
they watch highlights. Right.
They'll watch.
Yeah, we're a red zone TikTok generation. They're not watching football. The lack of generational understanding of the game of football has changed, and that's from going back where you used to watch your team on a Sunday and that was it. Now you're not even watching your team. You're watching red zone because I got this fantasy player and I got that fantasy player, and then I'm watching my fantasy players' highlights on TikTok. Like the very few sit and actually watch a game. You know, it's kind of crazy.
It is wild, and the plays that they know, like they don't know power or counter or like they know the cool play that was shown in highlights. Like so, that's what they're going to bring to you. Like so, if as a coach, if you were going to take stuff from all the players, you would have a litany of really cool plays, all non-associated with your system. You know what I mean? But that's what they know. But you know, I do like the fact that I kind of am like whatever keeps them involved in the game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'm not gonna watch it the way that like I can't get my son to do it. They won't watch it the way that we watch it, but they are involved in it. So if it's gaming, if it's fantasy that gets them to watch some things, if it's highlights, whatever you know it is that gets them Roblox football, which I see them play. They love that.
The game is bigger than ever. It hasn't changed. I agree with you. The game is bigger than ever. It's just we're just I guess getting old and you know they just watch it a different and you know it's just different to them.
Well, I
also think that, like the involvement, they're always doing something. Like they're not. We used to sit like Sundays. You sat around and you did football. Like these guys are playing tournament. You know what I mean? Or they're training or they're doing
what was available too. So you were limited to certain things, and they're not limited. Like you know,
I mean, they can sit on their phone and watch.
I tell my son every time I see a highlight of like Marcus Dupree in high school. Or Earl Campbell, I'm like, you want to see some guys who are big and can run? Like these guys of a different era. That was when you took the biggest, fastest guy you had and made him a tailback. It's a little different now, but that's what they used to do back in the old days.
Well, the highlights were different, Dave. Right? Like they showed the biggest hits was a top segment, right? And now it's now it's just. Catch a touchdown, go across
jumping backwards over somebody, which will have somebody try to do 18 times, and it's not legal in high school football. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's because, and then you got the Savannah Bananas. I went to the Savannah Bananas last weekend in Philly, and that was eye-opening. It was interesting because I was so, I mean, they're always sold out, and I was so amazed because the players are really minor league players, but they do all these things. They do all these different things, which is interesting. Like, I don't know how many times I would go because it's kind of probably a similar like show each time, even though the game itself can go different ways because of the game portion of it, but like the tricks and stuff. But it's very entertaining. Like the kids like go absolutely nuts for it. I wanted to shift gears because I was curious about recruiting. And, listen, I know it's affected high school across the board. Big famous schools, like Bergen Catholic or Don Bosco or, down here are maybe, some of the, Rumsford's not a big school, but obviously they've had a lot of success. Obviously they probably have school people coming through. But I've heard a lot about, and we've talked to a lot of coaches where they're not getting through to every place like they used to. They used to stop everywhere. Now, are there things you have to do now in recruiting different? And you just went through it with your son, so that's I'm sure you kind of have a pretty good answer of how this all works. But what are some of the things you're seeing now from a recruiting standpoint that's changed?
The biggest thing is just getting to all those camps and being seen. And, if you're a good football player in Group 1 and you're a good football player in Group 5, you're going to be found.
Right.
All these schools, the amount of schools that come through, even my school, it's a little bit easier now with time management, but I was leaving class and having somebody cover my class to go meet a coach and get my players in front of them. And that doesn't change the Group 1 aspect of things. When, I have a player playing at Bucknell right now who is an awesome player, and we've had some schools come in. So, we don't have problems getting guys into schools. We, Rutgers does a great job. Monmouth does a great job. They're in our building every year. If you're good enough, they'll find you. But to my point with my kids is you have to go be seen. Like, you have to get out. Don't expect them to come see you in the fall or find your huddle tape. You need to get to these these camps and go. And some of them are great and some of them are not so great. But you got to go and you got to be seen and you got to be in football shape all the time. So that's the biggest thing. And we're blessed to have that opportunity to get some kids in college. I put 2 in this year. Aiden Healy and Steve Malega are going to play, and I'll probably have 2 or 3 next year. So, getting 2 to 3 off your roster every year in the Group 1 into college to play is something that's pretty special. And, we view that as an accomplishment. We promote that. We like our kids to go on and play at the next level. It's pretty cool.
Is the do you think that going to camps starts to even the playing field for small school kids, right? Because it gives them an opportunity to line up against a guy like, oh, that kid's from a big school, and I line up against him and I defeat him. Do you think that gives them more of an opportunity?
Yeah, 100%. And it gives them confidence too to understand. Hey, wait a second, I'm not just a good football player.
I can do this.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good football player. Yeah. So getting those camps are a big deal. And it really helps. And those college coaches do a really, really good job of finding people. That I've never been on that level, and that's something that fascinates me. How they'll walk into my building and say, I want to see this guy, this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, those guys can play. You're right. So they do their research and they know. And high school coaches, especially in the Shore, do a good job of talking up other teams' players and things like that. So you know a good player when you see one, and we all kind of support each other to get our guys in college.
I think the Shore is one thing that's very unique about the Shore is the amount of coverage that there is locally. So whereas newspapers as a whole across the state covers obviously a lot less. And that used to be the fun part of being a player, being open up and you see the box score and all that kind of stuff and see an article. But Shore has done an amazing job. I think that's one of the probably big, you talked about it earlier that you got exposure in that Keensburg game and you're like, wow, like Shore between the magazine they put out each year in the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously it's independent businesses, which is what's so cool about it. You got Shore Savage's guy who puts out the stuff all the time. You got the Shore Sports Report, and you got what's the guy that we brought on who does a great job? We had him on the show, Derek.
Shore Sports Insider. What is it? Yeah, I think it's Martin, Scott Martin, Scott Stone, Bob Batters. Those guys.
Bob Batters. And they do it on Twitter too, right? So it's not just the established media stuff. They do it on social media. Like at the end of Friday night, like as the scores are coming in, like I'm like constantly refreshing to see, who beat who, and if I think that's a unique aspect because other parts of the state, including up in North Jersey where we're from, and that's the Super Conference and the NJIC, and they don't have the coverage that the Shore has. I think that's a really, really unique thing. Is that part of that you found like in a time being the culture of the Shore? Like we kind of know each other. We a lot of guys. The thing that shocked me, obviously, when I started coaching down here, like everybody knew everybody. You know what I mean? Like it was true. I was truly an outsider. You know what I mean? So, and that wasn't the case in North Jersey because I think it was so vast. You knew these 10 guys, and these guys knew these 10 guys, and then eventually it would cross over and you'd meet somebody, but it was very, very dispersed. The Shore was very tight knit. Talk about how coaches really are able to gain from each other so much at the Shore Conference.
To touch on the media part first, it's just the Shore has something that nobody else has. Like to your point, nobody, the WJFL. I mean, it's so big. I mean, they do. There is a ton of coverage, and they do a good job with it. But you can't cover everybody. In the Shore, everybody's covered to a point, right?
Yep.
Obviously, the bigger schools are going to get a little bit more coverage, but we got a ton of coverage. The coaching fraternity in the Shore is great. What they do from the Lombardi dinner, which I got to be a part of from the first time, to what they the academic award that happened during the All Shore game, to the All Shore game. The All Shore game itself is the longest running All-Star game in the state. So and that's not an all-star game. It's my first year I got to be a part of it. That is all-star players playing in a competitive, I want to beat your ass game.
Yes.
It was
eye-opening.
It was a great experience. So the Shore Conference coaching fraternity is an amazing place. And coming from the Shore, going to the West Jersey League and then coming back, I was a little bit, I don't want to say worried, but I was a little bit curious to how I was going to be welcomed. And I was welcomed back with open arms. And, I'm lucky to be a part of that fraternity. And, we all root for each other, and, we all help each other out where need be. And it's a pretty special place.
No, it's unique. And it's as big as it is land-wise, Monmouth and Ocean County, because it's big. It's much smaller as far as relationship-wise, because Monmouth County, I guess, has decent sized population now. It's been growing so much, and Ocean obviously has too. But it's still it feels like it's a much smaller group. Somebody knows somebody, which I think is really unique. I think it's really unique, and I don't think you have that the same way in West Jersey and North Jersey, because it is so dispersed and the population is so high, and you're constantly, the turnover is a lot higher. Turnover in the Shore, even though recently there's been more turnover, it's still people for the most part. Right, so even though it's turned over, it's just kind of like an older guy passing off to a younger guy for the most part.
A lot of in-house hires, and
yeah, and when they go out, it's easy to talk to 2 or 3 people and know about a person you might hire who might be out of
right.
And I think that's a unique thing that the Shore Conference has, and even in the towns that everybody lives in, like I grew up in this town over here, and now I live over here, right? So they all kind of know a lot of people from the different areas, which I think is really, really unique. Having lived in North Jersey for a long time, it's totally different as far as the way that is, and I think it's really a cool aspect to what the Shore is. Before, I don't want to hold you too long. Before we let you go, this year, what are some of the things that we could look forward to from you guys, and what are you excited about with this upcoming season?
I'm just excited to get going. This, I always put up the tweet. It's like Christmas Eve, the first day of practice, and we're excited to get going. We return a lot of skill players, some holes to fill on the offensive line and in our linebacking core, but we return some really good skill players. I'm excited to have a sophomore quarterback that has been a part of our program, has been a ball boy for us for a while, and a sophomore quarterback to come in and kind of take the reins and, hopefully continue what we can do, spread the ball out a little bit. We return our running back and most of our skill kids and most of our DBs. So we want to, I've made the message clear. Our message is to compete for a division title. And, when we have teams like Keyport and Keensburg and Point Beach and Monmouth to compete against, every week's going to be a battle. Our non-conference schedule is more than fair. For the Shore Conference, we have Lakewood, we have Pinelands, we have Asbury Park and we have Shore. We're developing a nice little football rivalry with Shore, and we're on the short end of that right now. But we played them in a division title game last year at their place, and then we played them in the first round of the state playoffs at their place. So we open up with them at home at our place, which the kids are excited about, and we've started to develop a little rivalry with them. So we're excited. We just want to get going. We've got to stay healthy, and it's football. All you ask for, and what's great about the Shore is that every game is going to be determined in the fourth quarter. A lot. It wasn't so much so in my other conference games for and against where there wasn't a lot of parity. In our division, every game should be a really, really close, hard-fought game. And if you're more prepared and you make tackles and you make plays, you're gonna have a good chance to win. So we're excited to get going. I got a lot of work to do in the next week where the kids are off to plan out the first couple of weeks of practice, and we're excited. We're really excited.
That's awesome, Coach. We're excited. Best of luck this season for you, and I'm sure it'll be a great one. We'll look forward to seeing you soon, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
have
Coach.
a great
Good luck, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
See you, buddy.
Awesome. Awesome stuff, dude. Awesome.
Group 1
Awesome.
ball, buddy.
What's that? So what's the date that you go back to official practice? Like what camps practice?
Let's see. I think it's the week of the first week not next. It's the 11th, that Monday.
The 11th. Oh, so you still have a little time. So
one more week.
Do you guys give them off the week before, or
we had our off week last week? So we'll go this week and then next week, or then the 11th when it starts, actually counting and whatnot. Especially for us too, because we just picked up a week 0 game. So, that moves the calendar a little bit, which I'm ecstatic about because, much rather be preparing for a week 0 game than a bye week or, a game scrimmage or whatever that is. So,
so at the 29th, your first game? Or?
Yeah. Our first game, we're going to play Thursday, the 28th. So we'll start even early. We'll be one of the first games in the state to jump off and go, which is awesome. We'll play a Thursday night at our place, which is really cool. Because, look, we talk about it all the time, the calendar of just nationally teams start and whatnot. You know what I mean? So that week 0 game here in Jersey, other states, that'll be week 2 or week, you know what I mean? They'll have already had a game or 2 under their belt. So our calendar is a little different than other states. But I'm excited to just get going. Look, with the amount of work that every team across the state puts in the summer now, training camp isn't what it used to, just based by the rules and, like I said, what guys are doing throughout the summer. You don't need double sessions or triple sessions to squeeze in those practices to get it in because you've been doing that stuff all summer. So
you've already practicing.
It's just it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. So if you've structured your right and done those things, I think guys are, more than prepared for those week 0s or week 1s. Because I bet you if you really looked at the numbers, more than half the teams in the state have a week 0 game and want to get going, you know what I mean, sooner than later. That also probably, depending on how you structure your schedule and whatnot, could give you a bye week during the season, or, just with those types of things and how, schedules are structured and they change things with the playoffs and the state championships, adding another game in the last couple of years and whatnot. So that now we're playing down to a true group champ. So, first week of the playoffs for public school is, November. That first weekend in November, you're in the playoffs. Now, private school, that's another week. You're waiting another week, but for the most part, October that's the end of the regular season, and you're ready to go.
It's incredible. It's
right
up on it. We're already.
You guys are rocking and rolling. Hell, youth football starts way earlier than we do when it comes to like, I mean, I guess it's not way early now, but I remember always being like August 1st. Here we go, youth football. Like, time to go. Like, no vacations anymore. Here we like get to 6 o'clock every night. Run 6 o'clock hits. The church bell would ring, and that meant run your lap, and then we're gonna go.
Right. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And what do we got next week? Do we have
Yep. So next week we're back Tuesday with I want to make sure I say it right. Mark DeCristoforo, who is head football coach and athletic director, Staten Island. So it's actually where Ryan Vallee ended up finishing his career. So get to talk to him. Wears a lot of hats. Staten Island football, just city football, right? Like New York City football. We talk about it all the time. Is a different beast in itself. So it'll be good to talk to him from St. Peter's. So it'll be awesome. Not St. Peter's, Jersey City. St. Peter's, Staten Island.
right? That's a different program.
Totally different.
Totally different. Very cool. All right. Well, we will see you all next week. And
Enjoy your weekend.
have a great weekend.
Last true summer weekend, maybe, I guess. Maybe. Who knows?
Oh man, that stinks.
Yeah.
That stinks. All right. That means the cold's right around the corner.
Come on, man. Like, come on, give us something. I mean, shit, we just had the hottest line in the history of the freaking ever.
I know. I could use it in between. Like, I don't want it to be like cold to hot. I just
You don't go from 100 degrees to like 40.
like when we're doing like 7-on-7, it's freezing cold. Freezing
When we
cold.
start, it's freezing.
And then all of a sudden, at the end,
It's
it's
hot.
hot. Like if there was no like, where's the good weather? We could just relax and
Yeah, the whole Four Seasons thing up here is really starting to like blend. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's like 2.5.
Global warming thing, buddy.
I don't know. That may be true in some aspect. So, or some sort of polar shift. I don't know, but there is no
Something that people smarter than me are working on to figure out. That's for
there's
sure.
a little bit of a fall. There's definitely a fall, but the summer extends later, and then the fall.
Well, there's
kinda-
nothing like that first morning you wake up in the fall and there's like a little bit of frost and you're like, oh shit, I better put a hoodie on.
like that used to be the end of September, right?
Correct.
Now that is like mid-October. I don't know what's weird.
And then it goes right from that to like
just
6 inches of snow.
It's weird. I don't
Although
know.
being down here is different. Like you don't get
You don't get as
snow
much.
like you got snow like that.
Yeah, you don't get snow like that. That's true. That's true. And I guess as it gets farther more towards you, if it went all the way down to like AC, I bet you they don't get much snow at all. But,
Nope.
But anyway, all right.
I'll
have a
talk
good
to you.
week. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Good pod. It was interesting talking to him. It was interesting talking small school football. It's been a long time since it's been small school football. Been a long time.
God, dude, it was different because I didn't know any different growing up. But then when you get out of it and look at it, you're like, holy hell, dude! Like, wow, I guess everybody's not supposed to play every position. Or, like you said, it was a great his point of reference for what football was when his quarterback got hurt and he had to stop to change jerseys because his guard had to go to quarterback. Like that explains that is Group 1 football. Like that's what it is. Like you might have those are the teams that have like an offensive tackle as the kicker, just because he can like boot it. You know what I'm saying? Like those types of things, right? And you look at the sideline, and there's literally 37 guys, or impressive with his numbers to take it from 20 something to 40 something. I mean, 40 is really damn good. Yeah, I think.
But
like you said, that town is football. Like it is, you know what I mean? Like that is what they do.
I don't think I've ever been to New Egypt. Is New Egypt?
I'm just telling you.
Is that a town?
So when we did our stuff at
town, okay.
Adventure Crossing, right?
Yeah.
The indoor. If you keep going down the road, right, past Six Flags and all that, that's New Egypt. That's where it is. I didn't know it until I had to go there to play a girls' game.
Oh,
and then I got there and I'm like, oh shit, this is okay. Like, okay, I got it. Like fields for days, just like, you know, he's got a really nice locker room up like off of his field, but it's separate from the school. So you know what I mean? Like it's and they've been like if you say like people know New Egypt, like, and not just for football, like, you know what I'm saying? Like their softball program is pretty good. You know, they have other sports that are, you know, good there, which is awesome. You know, because I mean, shit, what else are you gonna do? It's a farm community, dude. Like there are fields for days when you get out there.
That's so interesting.
And they fit in because with the shore, they like balance out that the Group 1 world, right? Because they were always right on the cusp of like 4 teams, 5. You know what I mean? Like bringing New Egypt into it, and I believe they're the 43rd or 44th team in the shore itself. It just balanced out really well with football in terms of let's get another Group 1 in this, whereas, you know, forever it's like they're Ocean County. People never like think that they're Ocean County because of where they're located, you know, and nobody ever wants to go there. Yes,
the farther west, and
correct.
Yeah. And like for Manchester to go to New Egypt, you have to go through that Air Force base, right, or something, or
yeah, you kind of got to go like around there, whatever. Yeah, right,
because that's a big base, right, over there.
Huge, monstrous.
Yeah.
McGuire.
That's it. McGuire is it's interesting. I'm trying to pull this up here. It is far west. You're right. Wow.
Oh yeah, dude, it is, Dave. It is. I mean, for you, an hour, no doubt.
Yeah, we're all the way up here. Oh wow, we're all the way up here. So that would be on right. So that's literally like on the way. Okay,
dude, that's out. I'm telling Dave, it is past out. It is. Think about how long it took you to get to Adventure Cross. Probably another
45 minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes. Yeah, to get to Adventure Cross.
Yeah, because you wouldn't go more towards like the Parkway. You would go the other way, more inland, and go.
Well, I could go 195, or I could go that back road.
That's it. Yep. Well, that's still for me 190. Like that's how I get there, right? Where I am on the, you know, like the border of Howell and whatnot. Like that's how I going out that way. I love how I'm like using just like people even look at maps anymore. Like they have a goddamn clue. But like, you know, if I map quested it, there we go.
Yeah,
print out my MapQuest directions.
It's interesting because Ocean and Monmouth County are very big
counties. Yes. Monmouth County, to like your Cold Snacks, Freeholds, you're like those areas of like, because everybody thinks like when they think Ocean County, right? They just think like the beach, right? Like, so let's just think of, but it is Monmouth County and the interior part of Ocean County. It's land, dude. It's like, you know, sometimes I'm driving through Monmouth County and I'm like, am I in Sussex County? Like, is like, this Sparta?
Why does no one live there? I'm just curious. I don't know. I'm just asking. Why?
Listen, you can't say that. Look at like where you are. Like it's just only expanding. You know what I'm saying? Like look at and all those types of areas too. You know, like the Freeholds of the world. Your Colts next. Us up north, everything built on top of each other. Especially you from Bergen County, where like literally everything is like that's it. It's like town. For us to see any space, it's like ooh. And now the space that we came down here to see is now slowly but surely going away. You sure as hell.
But Middletown is getting chipped away at. No doubt. There's a
Yeah,
lot of-
which I think is a great, like, that's going to be something that I want to coach next week about is if he is seeing any of that in terms of players leaving, families leaving Staten Island to come out here post COVID. I'd love to hear his, take on, that aspect of whether it be families moving or players, whatever it is, leaving to go somewhere else in New Jersey or whatnot because of maybe some of the structure stuff that goes on with New York football. Because I know New York teams cannot play a game before September 1st, because we've tried to get an Iona Prep or a some of those other like really high level schools that Rutgers actually pulls a good amount of guys from and has some pretty good relationships with some of those schools in there. But it's just
different.
It's different, and each borough is different, right? And then Long Island is a whole entity. Upstate New York is its own freaking. I mean, people don't think of New York as like New York State; they think New York City.
Right.
Nobody thinks about Rochester or Buffalo or any of those places, dude. But like in the state final for New York, you're playing up in Syracuse.
Yeah. That's where a lot of the players.
Like you're not playing. Yeah, I mean, look, we talked to Coach Joffrey from that area, right? And then went to Syracuse. What was that private school that he talked about that his old man coached at, or some of those places up there that you knew the name of it right away?
Yeah. You mean like Syracuse or?
Yeah, the Syracuse area, right? And then you come down to the city, and you got schools like Poly Prep, right? And
yeah,
but
like
they didn't really get much love. I'll tell you that much.
Bishop Kearney one, and there was another. My mind. But CBA, really good there in New York, but they're all upstate. And then there's
correct.
There's another.
I mean, you're talking like 4 or 5 hours.
I mean, the majority of them are parochial, but you get some big old boys up there. So
yeah, you think?
Coach
Joffrey was
Rochester pretty heavy, actually. Rochester used to put a lot of good athletes.
What UConn did?
Yeah, they still do.
Yeah, you said that.
They still
when we talked to Fichter, right? When we talked to Dan Fichter, he talked about that. You said that.
Rochester used to have athletes. They would have athletes there. Like we've played them in 7-on-7 a couple times. I think they whooped us one time. I don't know. I'm not sure. It was one of those indoor. We were at an indoor.
What's funny is the game we just got, Woodbury. The coach that was communicating with me through social media is the dude from Slime U.
Wait, which is it? Is it the guy who played at Penn State? Harvey?
Hang on.
Is it Harvey?
Yes.
Corey Harvey?
Corey.
Harvey?
Yep.
Corey Harvey?
Corey, I'm like, Corey, we might like not know whose each other's faces are. I said, but like we've probably like dabbed it up like 15 times. No, yeah, I said like, hey, this is our team and this is whatever. And he's like, oh shit, man. Like if I knew like it was working with this, I'd have told him we ain't playing. Like, listen, we're okay. Like, let's just get a freaking game and go week 0, so I don't have to have another week of summer practice, please, for the love of God.
They're gonna be good.
They're a very good Group 1 team, absolutely. Explosive, you know what I mean? Like athletic. So I'm excited. That's how I would love to start the season.
Corey and his brother,
and the head coach has been there for a while.
What is Corey, an OC or just position?
What is his title? What is his title?
Anthony Regan.
I'm not sure of what his actual title is. I would assume it's something of
they weren't that good last. Okay.
They lost in the playoffs to Shore, who had a good run last year. And they put out some players, dude.
They play
yeah, they play a real team. They got to play. Listen, they got to play.
Willingboro,
Look,
they play
South.
Glassboro,
We always talk
Alec.
about Dave. Yeah, that's South Group ones, dude. They're different.
I remember when this is going way back. The only reason I know
That's New Jersey Football League.
Shalek is really good, and the only reason I know about him is because I remember, like, when Homo went against them in track, we won the state champion. Shalek was in our group, and Shalek had a football player that broke the state record in touchdowns, and he wasn't. He was a great track athlete, but he wasn't playing football, and he wasn't playing track college. He was going to play basketball at Seton Hall. And I'm telling you, Derek.
What was his name? What was the last name?
Last name Gauss, or the guy was when Pomo beat them in the long jump, they were looking at him sideways, dude. And we beat them in the triple jump. Too. We won the triple jump. We won the triple jump and we won the long jump. Okay, and two different guys, and they were like, "Who's this kid?" And obviously, Pomo was a football player too, but this kid was like, "Oh God!" He's like one of the most. He might still hold the state record. The number of touchdowns. I was talking to the kid, because obviously I was a football guy. I was talking to the kid about the number of touchdowns he scored. It's not even fathomable. What was his name? Football player who played basketball. He went to play basketball in college. That was the crazy part. Paul Gauss.
And Seton Hall basketball is no bullshit. It's Big East.
Oh yeah, he was. It's funny. Listen, was football, but he was football. He was. Let's see which one. 2004, 2005. He led them to 25-5 in basketball, Group 1. And then let's see. But it was. They said football. He was insane. Oh, this Paul. I remember him. He not very maybe 5'9". Maybe yeah. I mean, I towered over him. I remember that. He was
Listen, everybody towers over me, so it doesn't really matter. And that was the state record back then?
What was amazing, I don't know, it might be still. He scored 39 one season. 200. He's probably a kicker too.
Wait, he was a single.
His senior.
It was single season TD or points.
Yes. Single season TD.
Got it.
39 in one season. 236 points, 12 interceptions.
All right. So it is now
Division 1. It's someone passed him?
Yeah. So it is now the New Jersey high school football single season touchdown record is 46, held by Naam Mayfield, who achieved it in 2017 while playing for Manalapan. Interesting.
Manalapan?
Now, total points. Yeah.
What's
2017.
Where do you play at?
Naam Mayfield. Naam Mayfield. Naim Mayfield. And then single season points is a kid from Rutherford in 2019. 282.
Fordham Mayfield 1-2. This kid played basketball at Seton Hall and was led the Big East in steals 1 year. He was good. I wonder what he does now.
Oh, Seton Hall has always been a thing for me because all my cousins
worked out for the Jets. After college, he worked out for the Jets, and then was with the United Football League with the Las Vegas Locomotives after playing basketball, and then went.
Well,
back
did you see
to
last night?
Went back
this weekend. Hall of Fame. Yeah, because you could probably go make some money in Europe playing basketball. Hall of Fame. Antonio Gates, first ever Hall of Famer to be inducted that did not play college football.
Wow. That did not
There's
play
a stat.
college.
There's a nice little trivia hammer for you. Like, who's the only Hall of Famer who never played college football but is in the Hall of Fame?
Well, who never played college football, who went to college, because Earl Campbell, not Earl Campbell, who's the guy who went straight from the high school? It wasn't there another guy that went straight from high school? Not Earl Campbell. I'm sure back in the day there are people that went like from high school to the pros.
Well, I don't.
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But that's unbelievable that he's the only basketball player basically to make it.
Antonio, who went in? Antonio Gates. Only 4 guys this year. Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, DB, Sterling Sharp, and Jared Allen, D-line. Who was so skinny it's not even funny. He looked like Minnesota. And then where was he before that? Was he with the Chiefs?
Yeah, Chiefs.
Yeah, because they wanted to kill him when he took the money and left, right? Yeah, I remember that. Now, listen, I saw him last night on watching the game. He is so skinny. It's incredible.
Yes, I guess these guys take the juice.
Well, that's what he said. Well, he said in his interview when they were going through his thing, he goes, "Holy hell!" He goes, "How come my face was so fat back then?" He goes, "I guess He goes, "I played an era though where I had to stop power."
Right. That's right. Now he's running marathons. So.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it's more of he's just sitting in a hunting blind, like just shooting ducks and shit.
Yeah. That's right. That's
big time hunter. He's like one of those. Yeah, he's definitely one of those. And I'll be interested to see. I'm not sure who's doing it. I'm sure we could look it up. I wonder if Shannon Sharp introducing Sterling for his speech.
I'm sure he will.
Well, I don't know. He just got fired from ESPN, so who knows?
So he all he really has now is the pod, although he probably makes a ton of money from his pod. But
oh God, I'm sure he does.
Like when he had what's that guy the comedian? He basically broke the internet.
What's his name? Little dude.
Little dude, yeah.
He's got a little raspy type voice. Yeah.
Didn't
Sterling? Didn't Sterling Sharp get hurt? Right? Didn't he have his career end because of an injury?
Neck injury. He was.
Oh, he's a South Carolina guy.
Is that where he went? University of South Carolina?
How about this? In '94, he again led the NFL in receiving touchdowns with 18. Back then.
Well, when he had 100, he was the first guy to get 100 catches all the time. He would have like 120.
Single season reception with 90. In his second season in the NFL, which was 89, he led the league in a single season receptions with 90, and then set the standard in both 92 and 93. Holy shit!
Yeah,
he had 108, and then 112 the following year. So he went 90, 108, 112. Damn.
Yeah, that was the first time anyone had that number of catches.
Listen, you know what's crazy? It's crazy. People never believe me, but you can look it up. In high school, right, when I was young and those really good teams, the 4P and whatnot, in, I believe it was the 97 season, there was a kid on Butler who had 120 catches in a season.
That's incredible. It's incredible.
And he ended up going to Wilkes. Like I'm Mike O'Brien. His name. I'm telling you, it was trips left. He was the single receiver on the right, and he would speed out, slant, and then vertical. That was it. That's all they did. And it was
it choice?
Yep, it was choice. That's all they did. That was the play. That was the name of the play. Choice.
The choice.
Like,
yeah.
That's what it is. And then, I mean, look, it probably helped that he had a 3-year starter at quarterback who broke the single season record for passing touchdowns this senior year with 50, who ended up going to Princeton, playing 1 year, and never played football again. Scott Brown used to.
What was the rule on that?
It was unbelievable. What was the rule? If he's off 5 yards, pick your poison and go. And then if he wants to start creeping up, like hit it and go. And it was a half roll to the single receiver.
So he would half roll even on the
Steal
slant.
it.
Half roll
Even on the slant, and would throw off 1 foot and just gone. And this is like, no offense to Mike, because I knew Mike. I grew up like whatever. He wasn't a burner. Like he wasn't a guy that you'd be like, oh, he's fast. He wasn't Dave Conklin. Mike Van Zyl. Like those guys were 4x1 burners. This kid just knew how to run a slant. He knew how to. It was the first. Like we were always a speed team, never a hard cut out guy, right? So most corners were nervous, like to get beat. So they would just pitch and catch all the way down the freaking field, dude. And it was like 5, 5, 5, 5. Like,
how
it was.
When do you run that? When do you run the speed out? What
if it's man coverage and he's to your inside and they had such good timing, Dave, there would be corners that would be like, all right, I'm playing him inside. I know he's running this, but that ball, that's how I learned to get my head around before it, you know what I mean? Because the whole premise was this ball is being thrown on your third step. And your head's not going to be around, you better get it around and catch it and be able to go. And at that point, you're already at like 5-6 yards. And it was just bang, bang, bang. Like, and then look, then they start jumping that and you just turn it up the bottom of the numbers and it's, now you got a little out and up and it's right. Or if they started to cheat safeties and whatnot, backside, inside was just like a bender on a vertical. And the safety would pull, and here you go, right? They would work inside if it was too high. Single receiver, like just throw it over his head, bang, like steal it, dude, steal it.
I have a guy that can do that. A receiver that probably.
The coolest thing was the throw in the slant, half roll on a 1 foot, like. You know what I'm saying? Because, dude, that's where everybody was working, chew gum around the corner, get your shoulders there, you know what I mean? Like, we would half roll catch. Now, Scott had a freaking cannon, obviously. But look, the guy before him, and Scott was a 5'8", sawed off Butler quarterback, whereas the guy before him, Dan Medine, who went to Ford, was like 6'2", 6'3", like prototypical, and he was still doing the same thing. Like he was doing it too, It was just something that was taught so before its time, dude, that it was freaking wild.
That's awesome. I'm doing it. I'm gonna take.
It was so fun. I just tried it. Look, and then I just used to laugh because that typical position, which was it was the Z. That was always, hey, this is where the most balls are thrown, or this is where most catches happen because it was a righty QB. He was the outside receiver, right? So, going into senior year, it was like, hey, Derek, you're playing the Z because that's where most of the – dude, I didn't even like playing out there. I liked being in the slot, dude, where I was catching bubbles and running jet sweeps, and I got to, like, hammer down on an apex player or go block a linebacker. Like I had more fun playing in the slot. But that's where most of the footballs went. And, we spread it around a lot more than some of these other guys too. But I remember as a junior, when I played inside receiver on the right side, my outside receiver, who didn't even college football, had 74 catches.
All right, my noodle's going now.
I know. I love doing that to you especially on a Friday.
Yeah, I'm putting that in. I'm thinking of
Steal it.
dude. Yeah. I know the two kids that could do it. One's a big one, one's a small one. and they both.
And look,
have their-
and you could mess around with his alignment too, being the only receiver out there. You know what I'm saying? So like, look, like obviously, now it's like numbers are your world, but like that doesn't mean that. Like that means you could be at the bottom of the numbers, the middle of the numbers, the top of the numbers. Like, you know what I mean? Just so that when you do run that vertical, you got to hold those numbers so he can throw you. He has that 5-yard window to the sideline to throw you open and do all those things. And I mean, look, these guys were throwing back, shoulder back, and before that was like even a freaking thing, right? Because they had their timing of it every time was just bang, bang, bang. Like, let's do this. There was never a guy that wasn't open. And the defenses knew it with what they were doing. They just weren't equipped to handle all that shit at that time. It's just different.
Will not. I mean, their answer will roll out. They'll roll it outside linebacker out,
right, to kind of play space. But now, if he wants to wide, yeah,
or just run draw,
or you have put the back on that side and go.
All right, right.
Like
I don't think
have the tackle big. Don't read the end. Read the apex player.
It's true.
You're already downfield. It's just an or you could go twin, go RPO with it.
I was thinking almost like instead of have the guy run a swing, and then just have the quarterback sprint to space, and if he's got it, take it. If not, throw the swing. Because I think at 10, it's hard to get him to pitch to. I think like they can pitch, but
no. That's tough. It's tough. That's tough. You're asking him to do a lot.
Have him throw
100%. Absolutely. Yeah,
just throw.
No doubt.
Just run out there. You
put it in, buddy.
Yep.
Draw it up. Man. Another card.
What's that? I know. I don't.
Another player.
Well, I that's why I try to make it one play with multiple things, so I don't have to use much space. It's
right.
There won't be. No matter what, there's no more than 12 plays, so it's
100%.
It's just the versions of it, which means it's
keep
really
it, 30. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. All right, man. I'll see you later. Have a great day.
Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Later.